Welcome to Sleepy History Stories. Before we begin, you are gently invited to share in the comments where you are watching from, what time it is for you right now, and any quiet thoughts you may be carrying into this moment. Your presence adds to this calm, reflective space. Tonight we drift slowly into a world where invisible threats move silently through streets, homes, and fields. Plagues, long forgotten in memory, once swept through communities with startling speed, carried in the simplest parts of daily life, on hands, on water, on animals, and even through the air itself. Ordinary routines, so familiar and comforting, became the hidden pathways for disease, altering life, labor, and survival without warning. We will explore how human lives, from crowded cities to quiet villages, intersected with these hidden killers, and how daily actions, simple, unremarkable, and often repeated, shaped the spread of illness. Through the soft lens of observation and immersive storytelling, we will see not only the fear and loss, but also the quiet endurance, adaptation, and ingenuity that sustained life. The world of history was not only shaped by rulers, battles, and grand constructions. It was equally shaped by quiet, invisible forces that moved silently through homes, villages, and cities. Among these forces, plagues held a unique power. They spread without warning, carried in water, food, air, and even the touch of a hand. The ordinary acts of daily life, drawing water from a well, tending to animals, preparing a meal, sweeping a floor, became channels through which unseen killers moved, shaping the destinies of entire communities. In small villages, families rose with the soft light of dawn, performing tasks that had been repeated for generations. Women drew water from wells or rivers, carrying heavy vessels back to their homes. Men tended livestock, checking for signs of weakness or disease, brushing animals and cleaning pens. Children played quietly along the edges of fields, learning the rhythms of work, observation, and responsibility. Every motion was familiar, comforting, part of the quiet cadence of life. Yet each of these actions also carried a hidden risk. Water could be tainted by distant contamination. A sick animal might carry illness that jumped to the household, and simple touch could transfer what the eye could not see. In towns, the pace quickened, but the risk multiplied. Streets filled with traders, merchants, craftsmen, and townspeople, each moving with purpose through narrow lanes and crowded marketplaces. Food stalls offered bread, vegetables, and small portions of meat, yet the proximity of people and the limited methods of storage allowed invisible threats to flourish. Wells and communal water sources, essential for daily life, were often contaminated by runoff, waste, or unnoticed decay. Garbage, piled in alleys or at the edges of the town, provided fertile ground for rodents and insects, further carrying disease into homes and shops. Homes themselves, though familiar and comforting, often contained hidden dangers. Floors swept only occasionally, thatched roofs that trapped moisture, and shared sleeping spaces created an environment in which plagues could travel unnoticed. Every household chore, grinding grain, cooking meals, fetching water, intersected with risk. Each action carried a gentle tension between survival, routine, and the invisible forces of illness. Families learned to adapt quietly, washing hands when possible, boiling water, isolating the visibly sick, and preserving knowledge of what had worked in past outbreaks. These lessons were subtle, passed down in whispers, soft guidance, and careful repetition, Travel and trade, the lifeblood of civilizations, inadvertently accelerated the spread of plagues. Caravans moved along dusty roads, carrying goods, people, and disease from town to town. Ships sailed across rivers and seas, their holds packed with supplies, livestock, and travelers. Even a brief interaction, a handshake, a shared meal, a single contaminated item could transmit illness across vast distances. News of distant outbreaks spread slowly but surely, often arriving too late to prevent new infections. And yet, despite these risks, travel continued because commerce, survival, and human connection required movement. Life adapted around these risks, balancing necessity with careful observation and quiet caution. Religious and social practices also intersected with the spread of disease. Temples, community gatherings, and festivals brought people together in close quarters. Ritual washing, shared meals, and physical contact were integral to communal and spiritual life. In these moments, invisible threats traveled as effortlessly as laughter or song. Yet rituals also offered structure and guidance during uncertain times. Priests, elders, and community leaders provided advice on hygiene, quarantine, and the careful tending of the sick. Spiritual practice offered comfort, even as it intersected with risk, creating a delicate balance between belief, routine, and survival. As plagues silently infiltrated homes and streets, the human response was often quiet, deliberate, and adaptive. Families observed symptoms carefully: fever, rash, cough, weakness. They isolated the ill when possible, created separate spaces, and maintained warmth and hydration. Communities shared knowledge of herbal remedies, protective practices, and subtle precautions learned through experience. The endurance of life depended not on dramatic heroics, but on patient observation, careful action, and the soft resilience of ordinary humans moving through their day-to-day routines. In every corner of the world, from crowded cities to remote villages, the same patterns emerged. Life continued amidst invisible danger, guided by careful habits, attentive eyes, and steady hands. Children learned through observation. Adults adapted through routine. Elders preserved and transmitted knowledge. The rhythm of life persisted, quietly balancing the ordinary joys, responsibilities, and small comforts against the ever-present shadow of unseen illness. By evening, families would gather around fires or oil lamps. Meals, though perhaps simpler than desired, were shared with gratitude. Conversations were soft, often reflecting on what had been observed that day, the subtle signs of illness, and the ways in which life could continue safely. As lamps glowed, shadows flickering across walls, the world outside seemed vast and unknowable. Yet within homes, careful attention and enduring habits carried life forward, one quiet day at a time. As the days and weeks of the year unfolded, the invisible forces of illness moved with quiet persistence through communities. In small villages, life appeared outwardly ordinary. Children ran along familiar paths. Women carried water from the well. Men tended to animals in fields. Yet beneath the surface of this gentle routine, the unseen carried subtle disruptions. Water drawn from wells could carry microscopic threats. Livestock, even when carefully tended, could host pathogens that would jump to human hosts. Every daily task, repeated countless times, became a conduit for survival or illness, depending on the care taken and the circumstances encountered. Markets became an arena of both connection and quiet danger. Merchants laid out grains, vegetables, dried meats, and other goods on tables or mats, trading with neighbors, travelers, and distant visitors. The act of exchange, touching coins, sharing food, passing containers, created invisible pathways for plagues. A single contaminated item might travel miles in a day, carried from town to town by hand, wagon, or boat. Traders adapted with careful habits, observing signs of illness among animals and people, arranging goods in ways to minimize contact, and timing travel to avoid crowded roads when possible. Yet despite these precautions, the invisible agents of disease moved silently and persistently, threading their way through life. Homes and streets reflected subtle adaptation. Families learned to create physical separation for the sick, though space was often limited. Meals were prepared in shifts, water boiled when possible, and surfaces swept and scrubbed with as much regularity as circumstances allowed. Children absorbed these lessons through observation, learning not only how to perform daily tasks, but how to do so with care, awareness, and a gentle patience that would guide them through future challenges. The act of hygiene, once taken for granted, became a conscious part of survival, repeated slowly and deliberately. Travel, though essential for trade, communication, and connection, accelerated the reach of plagues. Caravans winding along dusty roads carried goods, livestock, and people across valleys and hills. Ships on rivers and seas bore merchants, explorers, and provisions to distant lands. Each journey extended the reach of illness, even as travelers took care to maintain practices that reduced risk. Washings, isolation of the sick, and careful preparation of food and water became routine, learned through observation and whispered advice. Travelers learned to watch for subtle signs of illness, fever, unusual fatigue, coughing, and to act cautiously, balancing survival with necessity. Public gatherings, though comforting and familiar, became spaces of invisible transmission. Temples, festivals, and marketplaces brought people together in ways that enriched culture, community, and spirituality. Yet these same interactions allowed unseen pathogens to move effortlessly among the populace. Leaders, both spiritual and civic, advised on moderation, ritual cleansing, and observation. Communities responded with measured adjustments. Shared meals were staggered, rituals adapted to minimize contact, and festivals incorporated quiet, thoughtful practices that preserve the rhythm of communal life while addressing the threat of unseen illness. Even the rhythm of work carried subtle adjustments. Farmers staggered labor to reduce the number of people working together at once. Artisans and craftspeople spread tasks across multiple days or hours. Children were assigned small, careful responsibilities, allowing them to participate without undue exposure. Each small adjustment contributed to the larger network of survival, creating an invisible lattice of care, observation, and quiet endurance that allowed communities to persist amidst the shadow of disease. By the soft glow of evening lamps, households paused to reflect on the day. Meals were simple, portions measured, and shared with gratitude. Stories passed from elders to children, often embedding practical guidance on hygiene, observation, and care. Advice on the use of herbs, clean water, and the cautious tending of the sick was embedded in tales of daily life, shared with gentle repetition and patient instruction. Even the quiet moments of rest carried purpose, allowing recovery, reflection, and readiness for the tasks of the following day. Through these patterns, life endured. Invisible threats moved silently, yet humans persisted with gentle adaptation, careful observation, and deliberate, mindful actions. Communities balanced connection with caution, activity with rest, and duty with protection. The ordinary rhythms of life rising with dawn, laboring through day, sharing meals, tending hearths, and observing the sick became the very mechanisms of survival, an unspoken choreography of endurance that wove the invisible and the visible together. In this quiet, deliberate way, plague spread not through dramatic force, but through the familiar, everyday acts of human existence. And it was through these same acts, careful tending, measured interaction, and patient observation, that communities preserved life, sustained knowledge, and quietly endured the unseen forces shaping their world. Each day, though shadowed by invisible peril, reinforced the delicate balance between ordinary life and survival, a rhythm that carried generations forward beneath the soft, muted light of history. As the invisible agents of illness moved with quiet persistence, towns and cities became focal points for both challenge and adaptation. Streets, often narrow and winding, were crowded with merchants, travelers, and townspeople, each navigating daily life amidst risks they could not see. The air carried faint, subtle traces of what had passed before, and surfaces that seemed ordinary were in fact channels for disease. Every shared utensil, every handshake, every touch of coin or fabric became part of the silent pathways that carried illness. Families and towns adjusted carefully to these threats. Daily routines were measured and deliberate. Water was drawn with greater care, often boiled when possible, and stored in containers cleaned with the slow, attentive diligence of habit. Meals were prepared thoughtfully, ingredients layered and handled to minimize risk, and portions stretched to ensure survival over uncertain days. Floors were swept and homes aired whenever sunlight, faint though it might be, allowed. Even the smallest gesture, a soft cleaning of a countertop, a gentle folding of cloth, a hand placed over a child's cough, became a quiet ritual of protection. Markets, while bustling, reflected subtle adaptation. Merchants arranged goods with spacing when possible. Travelers handled items with care, and the exchange of knowledge advice on safe water, the handling of livestock, and observation of symptoms spread alongside the trade of food, cloth, and tools. People moved with awareness, voices lowered, gestures careful, embodying a gentle rhythm of caution embedded into ordinary life. Observant children noted these patterns, learning early the ways in which survival depended upon careful attention to detail. Religious and communal gatherings, which had long provided solace, comfort, and connection, now served a dual purpose. Rituals were performed with measured care, touching, sharing, and assembly adjusted subtly to reduce risk. Priests and elders guided communities, instructing on practical measures, hand washing, isolation of the ill, and safe handling of food, while also providing spiritual reassurance. Ceremonies, processions, and shared meals carried both tradition and precaution, merging the visible and the invisible into a rhythm of life that sustained both body and spirit. Trade routes extending beyond towns carried both goods and illness, quietly connecting distant regions. Caravans moved with careful planning, aware that a single infected person or animal could introduce disease across miles. Ships on rivers and coasts bore supplies and travelers, each journey measured, each task deliberate. Traders learned to observe subtle signs of weakness in animals, lingering fevers in fellow travelers, changes in water clarity, and adjusted their routines accordingly. Even a brief interaction could carry consequences, yet communities adapted with patience, using observation, isolation, and gentle caution as shields against unseen threats. Within households, the lessons of survival became woven into the fabric of daily life. Caregivers tended the sick with gentle attentiveness, monitoring fevers, applying herbal remedies, and maintaining warmth. Meals were prepared in shifts, hands washed, surfaces scrubbed, and blankets aired. Children were guided through chores that balanced contribution with safety, learning from example the subtle art of enduring invisible challenges. Elders shared knowledge carefully, repeating instructions in soft tones that encouraged attention without alarm, creating an atmosphere of calm diligence. Despite the quiet fear that lingered in shadows, life moved forward. People rose with the sun, labored with care, and shared food and knowledge in measured, deliberate ways. Even simple acts carrying water, grinding grain, tending animals, walking through town streets were performed with mindfulness, each gesture both ordinary and essential to survival. The rhythm of daily life, observed and repeated, became a protective lattice against the silent spread of illness. By evening, the soft glow of lamps and hearth fires provided a space for reflection, rest, and gentle connection. Families shared meals, whispered observations about the day, and practiced small rituals of hygiene and care. Children listened to stories that subtly taught lessons of observation, patience, and careful interaction. Across towns and villages, the invisible presence of illness shaped life not through spectacle or sudden calamity, but through the quiet, enduring patterns of ordinary existence. In this way, the spread of plagues was neither dramatic nor chaotic, but threaded through the very fabric of daily life. And it was through these same ordinary acts, careful tending, deliberate observation, gentle adaptation, that communities endured, knowledge was preserved, and life persisted quietly, steadily, and resiliently across the centuries. As plagues moved quietly through towns and cities, they extended their influence beyond the boundaries of individual households. Trade routes, long the lifeblood of connection between distant regions, became subtle channels for invisible change. Caravans carrying grain, textiles, and other necessities wound slowly along dusty roads, their traders careful to observe both the goods and the people in their care. Ships sailed across rivers and seas, holding provisions, livestock, and passengers, each journey fraught with the unseen presence of illness. The movement of goods and people, essential to daily survival, intertwined with the movement of disease, creating a delicate balance that shaped the rhythm of life across vast regions. Communities began to adapt in ways both quiet and deliberate. Villages that lay along major roads developed routines to monitor travelers. Inns and resting spots observed the health of guests, offering water, food, and advice while subtly encouraging separation when illness appeared. Farmers and townspeople adjusted their interactions with outsiders, balancing hospitality with caution. Knowledge of symptoms, patterns of spread, and methods of care became a shared, slowly accumulating wisdom, passed from one generation to the next in soft, deliberate conversations around fires and lamp-lit rooms. Migration, both forced and voluntary, carried plagues further still. Families moved to new lands seeking fertile fields, fresh water, or safer regions. Each journey involved careful observation of health, meticulous preparation of supplies, and attention to hygiene within the constraints of travel. In some cases, those who carried disease unknowingly introduced it to new settlements, quietly altering the course of community life. Yet migration also provided opportunities for adaptation. Communities learned from new neighbors, exchanged techniques for food preservation, water purification, and medical care, and slowly wove resilience into the fabric of everyday routines. Markets and urban centers remained hubs of both commerce and risk. Merchants adjusted the timing of trade, staggered access to crowded spaces, and emphasized careful handling of goods. Public baths, communal wells, and shared latrines, all vital parts of city life, were managed with greater attention, with households and authorities adopting gentle, systematic measures to reduce risk. The quiet work of observation, cleaning, and adaptation became essential to maintaining daily life in environments where disease moved silently and persistently. Within homes, the subtleties of care became an intricate pattern. Meals were prepared with attention to cleanliness, utensils washed, and food stored carefully. Children were taught tasks that balanced contribution with caution, such as tending small gardens, feeding animals, or drawing water. Caregivers observed every sign of illness, noting fever, fatigue, or unusual behavior, and applied remedies drawn from both practical knowledge and herbal tradition. Elders repeated instructions in soft, calm tones, embedding lessons that would outlast any single outbreak. The home itself became a microcosm of adaptation, where ordinary life intertwined with the quiet vigilance necessary to endure. Social interactions, though constrained by awareness of risk, continued to carry cultural and emotional significance. Festivals, rituals, and communal gatherings were adjusted to reduce exposure. Participants practiced subtle spacing, staggered attendance, and careful handling of shared items. The rhythm of communal life persisted, but with a quiet attentiveness that reflected both awareness and care. Shared storytelling, prayer, and observation became vital, offering continuity, comfort, and subtle guidance for navigating invisible threats. Even as illness moved silently, the underlying pattern of human resilience endured. Communities, families, and individuals adapted with patient attention to routine, careful observation, and quiet guidance. The invisible presence of plagues reshaped daily life gradually, influencing the rhythm of work, trade, travel, and social interaction, yet without extinguishing the ordinary joys and responsibilities that sustained human existence. Life persisted through deliberate, mindful practice, one measured day after another, weaving resilience into the very fabric of history. By nightfall, as lamps flickered and fires glowed, families reflected on the day with gentle awareness. Lessons in observation, care, and patient endurance were passed softly from one generation to the next. Even the faintest signs of improvement, a slight recovery, a meal shared without worry, a child learning a task safely offered reassurance. Life, measured in quiet diligence, continued steadily, a subtle testament to the enduring human spirit amidst the invisible forces that shaped the world. As plagues wove their silent path through towns, villages, and cities, households became the primary arena of both challenge and resilience. The smallest rooms, the simplest chores, and the most ordinary interactions were imbued with subtle significance. Every task, drawing water, preparing meals, tending to children, cleaning floors, was carried out with heightened awareness. The invisible threat pressing softly against the routines of daily life. It was within the walls of homes that adaptation, care, and quiet endurance manifested most profoundly. Morning rituals, long familiar, took on new weight. Women rose with the first light, carefully drawing water from wells, mindful of cleanliness and the risks carried by each bucket. Firewood was gathered and arranged to maintain warmth, and hearths were tended with deliberate attention for cooking and for comfort. Meals were prepared slowly, each ingredient washed, chopped, and combined with mindfulness. Grains were boiled thoroughly, vegetables rinsed, and herbs incorporated not only for flavor, but for their subtle medicinal qualities. Families measured portions carefully, conserving nourishment to sustain strength over uncertain days. Children learned from observation and gentle instruction. Simple tasks feeding animals, gathering water, sweeping floors were performed with care, each action a lesson in both responsibility and cautiousness. Elders quietly guided them, repeating instructions in calm tones that embedded knowledge without alarm. In this quiet rhythm, children absorbed essential skills: observation, patience, and the ability to perform ordinary acts with careful awareness, skills that would carry them safely through both routine life and the extraordinary circumstances of disease. Herbs and natural remedies became vital instruments in the household. Leaves, roots, and flowers collected from surrounding fields or purchased in markets were boiled into teas, crushed into poultices, or added to soups. Each preparation was undertaken with gentle precision, guided by the accumulated wisdom of generations. Fever, cough, or digestive disturbance was met not with panic, but with attentive care, warmth maintained by fire, nourishment provided in small, steady amounts, and observation of subtle changes in the body's rhythm. These small, deliberate actions created an invisible barrier, slowing the advance of illness and offering comfort to the afflicted. Families developed systems of separation and care for the sick. When possible, a quiet corner of the home was dedicated to isolation, blankets layered to maintain warmth, and ventilation adjusted to allow the movement of air without exposure to others. Caregivers moved deliberately, minimizing contact while attending to the essential needs of food, water, and cleanliness. Simple rituals, stirring a pot, cleaning a floor, washing hands became protective measures, repeated with patience and gentle attention. The ordinary acts of life became subtle shields against the unseen, woven into the very texture of daily existence. Community knowledge complemented household efforts. Neighbors exchanged advice on safe water sources, the preparation of herbal infusions, and the careful tending of animals. Traders and travelers shared experiences of outbreaks in distant regions, passing along observations that informed local practice. Even in the quietest moments, listening by the fire, walking through fields, observing the behavior of livestock people, absorbed lessons that strengthened both individual and communal resilience. This accumulation of practical knowledge, shared softly and deliberately, became a quiet tapestry of survival. Evenings offered moments of reflection and gentle reprieve. Families gathered around fires or lamps, sharing modest meals and stories. Conversations, measured and soft, reinforced lessons of observation, care, and patience. Children listened attentively as elders described not only what had happened that day, but also the practices that had preserved life across generations. The household became a sanctuary of calm, routine, and deliberate protection, a space where ordinary life persisted even under the subtle weight of invisible danger. Through these quiet, persistent acts, measured preparation, attentive care, gentle observation, households preserved life, maintained knowledge, and nurtured resilience. The invisible presence of disease shaped daily routines and choices, yet it did not extinguish the rhythms, warmth, or quiet joy that sustained families. Life endured through the careful, deliberate choreography of ordinary acts, weaving the silent threads of adaptation, endurance, and the enduring human spirit into the fabric of history. As the months of plague moved softly through towns, villages, and distant regions, the cumulative impact of careful observation, deliberate routines, and quiet resilience became evident. Life, though shadowed by invisible threats, continued its steady rhythm, sustained by the patient diligence of ordinary people. Each household, each street, each market carried the marks of adaptation, subtle yet profound, a testament to the enduring human spirit. Communities had learned to anticipate, respond, and coexist with invisible danger. Travelers shared lessons of distant outbreaks. Merchants adjusted practices to maintain both trade and safety, and families wove careful observation into the very fabric of daily life. Children absorbed these lessons without alarm, guided gently by elders, and integrated them into the ordinary acts of living, drawing water, preparing meals, tending animals, and performing chores. The rhythm of life had not stopped. It had shifted, becoming more deliberate, more attentive, and more interconnected. Even the most ordinary spaces became arenas of quiet survival. Homes were organized with subtle care, separating the ill, maintaining warmth, and ensuring nourishment. Hearths glowed gently, fires crackling softly, as families prepared simple meals infused with herbs, sustenance, and care. Every sweeping motion, every gentle wash of hands, every measured act of preparation carried significance. These acts, repeated patiently day after day, became the uncelebrated but essential architecture of endurance. Social, spiritual, and communal practices adapted as well. Festivals, rituals, and gatherings continued, though carefully moderated. Shared meals, religious observances, and celebrations incorporated quiet spacing and thoughtful attention. Priests, elders, and community leaders guided their people with gentle instruction, providing reassurance, spiritual continuity, and practical knowledge. These quiet adaptations preserved not only life, but also connection, culture, and the sense of shared humanity that endured despite invisible threats. In the wider regions, trade and migration continued, delicately balanced with caution. Caravans moved along dusty roads, ships carried goods and travelers across rivers and seas, and families relocated in search of opportunity or safety. Disease may have traveled with them, but so did the careful knowledge of adaptation. Communities exchanged insights on safe water, herbal remedies, and household practices, creating a quiet web of shared wisdom that extended across towns, villages, and regions. The invisible threat, persistent as it was met with subtle intelligence, patience, and the soft rhythm of deliberate action. By the close of each day, as fires glowed and lamps flickered, people rested with the knowledge that they had contributed to survival through the simplest, quietest acts. Life, though marked by the subtle shadow of plagues, endured because ordinary humans practiced extraordinary care. Children slept safely after observing the measured routines of their elders. Families found reassurance in preparation and consistency. Communities preserved knowledge that would quietly persist through generations. Even in the face of invisible danger, the rhythm of human existence, steady, patient, and enduring, carried forward. And so the story of plagues in history is not only a story of illness, fear, and uncertainty. It is a story of gentle adaptation, patient observation, and the quiet endurance of ordinary people. It is a story in which life persists, woven from the deliberate acts of care, resilience, and communal wisdom that allowed humanity to survive, learn, and quietly thrive, even under the shadow of unseen forces. In the calm of evening, as lamps glow and fires crackle, we are reminded that the persistence of life is shaped not only by grand events, but by the small, patient, and enduring rhythms of daily existence.